Timothy was no ordinary turtle. Well, perhaps ordinary in appearance, a speckled, unassuming box turtle amongst a pond teeming with his brethren. But Timothy harbored a secret. He wasn't content with the life of munching on lettuce and basking on lily pads. He dreamt of a world beyond the pond, a world of adventure and, dare he say it, combat. This yearning stemmed from a fateful encounter. One sunny afternoon, a group of children gathered by the pond, tossing pebbles and sticks. Timothy, ever curious, poked his head out from his shell. A twig landed with a plop right beside him. He flinched, surprised, and retreated into his safe haven. This sparked a fire within him, a fire of frustration, a longing for a defense beyond his shell. Days turned into weeks, and Timothy devoured every scrap of conversation he could overhear. He learned of the world beyond the pond, a world with creatures called fighters, who battled for honor and glory. He pictured them, strong and valiant, with shells adorned with spikes and claws that could tear through flesh. Timothy yearned to be one of them. But how? Timothy was a turtle, a creature renowned for its slowness and defensive nature. He couldn't change his species, but maybe he could change himself. Every morning, while the other turtles dozed in the sun, Timothy practiced. He stretched his stubby legs, pushing against rocks, building muscle he never knew he had. He snapped at fallen leaves, honing his bite into a weapon. He even practiced lunges, launching himself with surprising force at unsuspecting insects, startling them into flight. His efforts weren't met with encouragement. The elder turtles scoffed at his foolish ambition. After all, a turtle's place was in the pond, not in some mythical world of fighters. But Timothy paid them no heed. He knew the power of perseverance, even if it meant enduring their jeers. One stormy night, when lightning split the sky and the wind whipped the water into a frenzy, disaster struck. A flash flood surged down the stream, tearing apart the tranquil pond. Timothy watched in horror as his fellow turtles were swept away, their panicked cries swallowed by the roaring water. Fear threatened to drown him, but then a new emotion surged through him: determination. He wouldn't let this be the end. He had to find a way to safety, a way to survive. The flood carried him far, depositing him onto a muddy bank at the edge of a vast forest. Lost and alone, Timothy felt a pang of despair. Yet, looking at the towering trees and the unfamiliar terrain, a flicker of excitement ignited within him. This was his chance, his escape from the expectations of his old life. This was where he could become a fighter. For days, Timothy navigated the forest floor, a tiny speck amidst the towering trees. He encountered strange creatures, skittering beetles with armored carapaces, nimble lizards with razor-sharp claws. Each encounter was a lesson, a new way to adapt, to defend. He learned to camouflage himself amongst the fallen leaves, to anticipate attacks, and to strike with surprising speed. Then, one day, he found them. A group of turtles, unlike any he had seen before. Their shells were not smooth domes but bristled with spikes. They sported metal bands around their limbs, and their eyes held a fierce glint. They were the Shellblades, a legendary group of warrior turtles. Timothy's heart pounded in his shell. This was it. His dream. A whisker away. Approaching cautiously, Timothy braced himself for rejection. But the leader of the Shellblades, a battle-scarred snapping turtle named Brutus, saw the fire in Timothy's eyes, the determination etched on his shell. "You want to be a fighter?" Brutus rumbled, his voice deep and gravelly. "Show me what you've got." Timothy, fueled by adrenaline and years of pent-up yearning, poured everything he had into the sparring session. He surprised even himself with his agility and ferocity. Brutus, though initially impressed, didn't hold back. He pushed Timothy to his limits, exploiting every weakness, every hesitation. Timothy stumbled, fell, but he never gave up. He learned from each blow, each mistake. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Brutus stopped the fight. Timothy, panting and bloodied, awaited judgment. "You've got the heart of a fighter," Brutus declared, the gruffness softened with a hint of admiration. "But you still have much to learn." That day, Timothy became a student of the Shellblades. He trained relentlessly, honing his skills, learning the art of battle, both physical and mental. He learned to wield makeshift weapons, sharpened sticks and sharpened rocks. He learned to fight as a unit, to anticipate the movements of his